Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Inspiring Thoughts podcast today. I'm delighted to have Jane Hodgson with us. Now, she's got a fabulous title as a trainer. So I'm going to warm it up next. A rock star enabler and then working hard at being lucky. So, Jane, great to have you on board today.
Hi, Stephen. Glad to be here.
Yeah. And just to share with you how Jane and I came across each other is a video Jane posted on LinkedIn about being lucky. And today I thought Jane and I connected. I thought it'd be really, really great to have a podcast just to explore that a bit more. So today we're going to looking at working hard at being lucky. So Jane, thank you ever so much. And also for putting your video on LinkedIn. It was brilliant. Really, really great share.
Oh, glad you enjoyed it. And actually, it's quite lucky because the story behind that is somebody hacked in my LinkedIn account and deleted everything. So deleted all of my posts, all the kind of 20-year history or whatever I've got. And so I thought the one thing I want to put back up there if I can find it, and I was, where have I got it? I've got it saved somewhere. And I found this video that I'd done, and I'd done it probably about 6 years ago, and I put it online, and you found it. So how lucky is that? Look where we are now.
It's good, isn't it? So, Jane, our audience are always would like to know your kind of career background, etc. So, how have you got to where you are today, my lovely?
Gosh, I've had quite an interesting career, I guess. I've worked in learning and development for 21 years now, if you can believe that. But I actually started off because I thought I was going to be a teacher. I was studying for my master's degree. I was working part-time in a call center, and a job came up in the training team, and I thought, well, I'll do that because I think I'm going to be an English teacher, so this will give me really good opportunity to stand up and see if I'm any good at it. And I just loved it, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So I did that for a few years, and career progressed, became a training manager, then went to work for a consultancy, and so for the last 10 years or so, I've just been kind of traveling the world, working with lots of different organizations. And I'd say about the last 8 years, I've been specifically focusing on leadership development, team development. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's so rewarding, isn't it? When you go and do that development for people and you see that light bulbs, that buzz go on, that is so rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely love it. And occasionally I'll just get a random message. I got one probably about a year ago now. You probably don't remember me, but pre-pandemic I had a chat with you about this and I was really engaged. And anyway, because of what you told me, I've gone on and I've done this qualification, and now I'm starting a new career. So I'm thinking, wow, we are touching lives when we do these things. So I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're connected. It's a real privilege to look and train people and develop, and people are paying you to do it.
Absolutely.
And I just think and to really, I think you and I talked before about immersive experiences rather than just death by PowerPoint.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it's death by PowerPoint, you might as well just send a PDF over. People have got to. I'm all for theory. I'm all for giving people theory, absolutely, because some people really like that and they really need it. But you can't be kind of rolling your sleeves up, and getting stuck in, I think.
Yeah. No, fab. So we've got 7 questions that we sent over to Jane in advance. Now, I was saying to Jane just before we come on air today, when I wrote them, I think they've even stumped me a bit. So we're going to see how we go today, because it's from the question point of view. So if we look at, first of all, do you believe in luck, or do you think success is purely a result of hard working and strategy?
It's interesting. I never really thought about luck until probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And I remember one day, I'd finished a training session, I was packing up, and one of the attendees came and said, "Oh, where are you next week?" And I said, "Oh, I think I'm in Munich or Copenhagen or somewhere." I'm like, "Oh, you're so lucky. Wow, you're so lucky." And I was a little bit affronted, and I said, "Well, it took me 15 years to get this lucky, And I believe in luck in so much as I was born in the UK. It's a relatively stable country, nobody's dropping bombs on us, thank God. We're financially okay. I know some people are not, I get that. I'm able-bodied. I have lots of things that make me lucky in that sense. I have tap water whenever I want it. I'm so lucky I've got a tap outside. I am aware of those things that make me lucky. But when it comes to things like career choices and life choices, I do think if I had to split it, I'd probably say life is 10% luck, but the rest of it is hard work and good decisions. That's how I usually think of it.
Yeah, and it's really nicely put about being grateful or lucky for what we have, as in, funny, running water, clean air, those kind of bits. But actually, if you think about and I was trying to think today about all the career moves, leadership, and that. And I've been quite probably humble over the years, going, "Oh, I've been lucky," because a lot of people do that. Then they've been very humble.
Mm,
But actually, I was trying to go, when was I lucky? And I was thinking, no, that was long hours I worked. I put the
exactly.
effort in. Literally, I went
Exactly.
to the meetings that other people didn't want to go to. So that
Correct.
that kind of then started to resonate, going, was I lucky, or actually did I put the effort in?
Yeah, and I hadn't really thought of it until that point, and then and a few people have said to me, you've had such a, I spent a year in Japan. I studied Japanese, and I went to Japan for a year, and people said, "Wow, you're so lucky! What a great experience!" I'm like, "Well, it's not lucky. I went to university for 5 years. I really worked hard at it. Learning
Yeah.
Japanese is not easy,
Yes.
That
Yeah.
isn't luck." So
Yes.
I think we've got to give ourselves more credit. And I'm like
Yeah.
with you. Modesty is important, and I don't
Yes.
don't go around going, "Look at me, I'm the big I am."
Yeah.
But I also think it's important to know and appreciate what you've actually worked for. I think it's okay to give yourself credit for your
Yes.
successes. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I think more and more people should be able to say, give themselves that credit for actually what I've
Absolutely.
done or what I've earned. But also the bit there is not to be arrogant, and there is that fine line. But
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
I definitely think there's a bit of people going, "Do you know, I did a good job there. That's where I've got to,"
Yeah.
rather than that. Yes, it's really good. Can you share a moment in your leadership journey when luck played a major role?
Yeah, I guess. Well, again, is it lucky or is it circumstances? But
Yeah,
this one really made me think because I was working in an organization. I lost everything during the pandemic. I was working for myself, lost all the business. That's fine.
yeah,
A lot of people did. That's not lucky. Fine, I accept
yes,
that. But I made it through unscathed. And so I was working in a job, and it was a very secure job, great pension, good holidays, really,
yeah,
really good company. But I had my head turned by the offer of another job, and I thought,
yeah,
oh, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. And I jumped. And anyway, it became very apparent after a few months that that other job wasn't going exactly where I thought it was going,
yeah,
and for
yeah,
reasons I won't get into. And I thought, well, what do I do now?
yeah,
I'm kind of stuck. I didn't burn my bridges, but it's
yeah,
very
yeah,
difficult to go back and go, excuse me.
yeah,
Um, at the same time, somebody I'd worked with, 5, 6 years earlier, phoned me up and said, listen, are you doing any associate work? Because I've just landed this massive contract and I need a
yeah.
trainer. And that work kept me going for about, let's say, about 14 months.
Oh
So
wow.
that, again, is it lucky? I
Yeah.
guess it's lucky that that landed in that particular moment.
Yes.
Okay, I guess
Yeah.
that is lucky. But what isn't lucky is that fabulous relationship that I have with that person. The
Yes.
fact that I've
Yes.
worked with him for years, he
Yeah.
knows me, trusts me, and the fact that I've built a good reputation around people
y-
that I've worked with. So
Yeah.
again, it's that 90-10. Should we
Yes.
go with a Pareto? Should we say
Yes.
80-20?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go with that. Everybody likes the 80-20, don't they?
Yes.
It's lucky the timing was lucky. I'll
Yes.
I'll take that, but I think the rest of it is down to having worked really hard at managing those networks.
Yeah. And I think I just echo that. So Jenny, who works with us, who's our head of cultural transformation. So when we first, I first started the business, and I thought, "Do you know what? I know I can see it growing already." And I
Mm,
contacted Jenny out of the blue. I've not spoken to her in 4 or 5 years. We used to work with each other, and I just dropped her a line and just said, "I'm looking for someone to go part time working with me. What do you fancy?" The luck was she replied, and we met the next day, and then we
yeah,
then worked to each other now for a good nearly 3 years.
yeah,
So there is that bit about being proactive, and there's a bit of air of luck, but it's about
yeah,
that proactive going. you know, I think Gary Player, the golfer, said that the harder I practice, the luckier I get. So it's that kind
exactly.
of stuff, isn't it?
Exactly that. And in terms of networking as well, the more people you know, the luckier you get. And that
Yes.
is absolutely true. The amount of times I've had people contact me going, "Hey, remember me? We worked together 15 years ago." So,
Yeah.
when I go to networking events, I never go to them with that view of I'm going to go and get clients. I just think
Yes.
I'm literally creating a network for the sake of it. And at some point that will pay off. And it might
Yes.
be 15 years down the line, but that's all